My name is Faraz Ismail with the American Bazaar, and I'm with four-star recruit Ryan Agarwal from Coppell High School in Coppell, Texas. How are you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking. So,
Sir.
I'd like to congratulate you on all the offers you've been getting from schools like Harvard, Stanford, Princeton. How does that make you feel knowing that all those high-level schools want you?
It feels good. It's huge, knowing that you not just only have schools for basketball, but schools also for education that, they hit the bird with two I mean, use one stone to hit two birds, like, you have education and basketball in one school. So it's big knowing that, at the end of the day, like you're getting schools that are extremely good at basketball and extremely good at education. So you have two routes out of the school. But it's really nice knowing, especially during a pandemic like this, that they're reaching out, giving that interest and giving those offers. It's really nice knowing, like, that they're interested in me. It's huge.
I know it's still early, but have you decided on a school or like any schools yet?
No, I haven't decided yet. I probably will be making a decision sooner than later, just because there's a lot of new rules because of COVID that actually happened. And I can tell you those rules later or whatever. But there's some new rules that came out, so that's why I'd probably make the decision a little earlier. But I'm starting to narrow it down for sure. But I haven't made a decision yet. Indefinitely. So.
Okay, so let me put you on the spot then. What are those schools that you've kind of like narrowed it down to?
Just for the most part, the schools that have offered me. I mean, there's a couple schools outside that haven't offered me that I still keep in the mix, of course. And if they were to offer me, kind of be able to narrow it down with them too and figure out if it's really truly a school that I would consider. But from the schools that have talked to me, Creighton, Stanford, Princeton, Harvard, Rice, St. Louis. Those are kind of schools, OSU. And then I'm missing a lot more too, but out of the ones that have offered me, but those mainly it's the schools that have offered me that I'm really trying to narrow it down. And it's really not so much like um, saying like I've picked these five schools, but more like listing like the order of like how like what am I interested in. So I have certain questions I ask every school, and based on their answers or based on like like for example like play style or something like that, or development, how they coordinate all that, then I kind of list which ones I like the most, and so that's kind of where I'm at.
I was just about to ask you that actually. What do you hope for most in a school? I guess. What are some questions you want to ask them?
From a basketball standpoint, I have three main things. It's first, it's the relationship with all the coaches, but at the end of the day, it's really my relationship with the head coach. Because at the end of the day, that's who I'm going to be playing for, and he's going to be the one putting me in games and teaching me the most. So, relationship with the head coach is huge. And then second of all is play style. Me being a shooter, and me being a guy who spreads the floor more and tries to get out in transition and shoot. I wouldn't want to play on a team that has that's just like stays in the guard's hand, and or goes to the bigs and they score inside all the time. I'd rather be on a team that spreads the floor, moves the ball well, and shoots the ball a lot. So that's huge play style. And then lastly, it's the development. At the end of the day, like college is huge, and it was a big goal of mine to make it to college, but I want to go past college and play NBA or overseas or whatever it may be. So development is going to be huge, and because I know I'm not an NBA athlete right now or NBA player right now, and so college at the end of the day is going to have to take me to the point where I want to be. And so the development and how they train, not just team wise but personally, is going to be huge. So those are probably the three main things from a basketball standpoint.
So, kind of speaking more on that, like the community that you belong to currently has no basketball pedigree. We've
Yeah.
seen some Indian representation in the NBA with Simbular, Satnam Singh, but
Hmm.
as of right now, there's really no like Indian talent in the NBA.
Yeah.
Is that something that you kind of is that something you put on your shoulders almost, trying to be like that representation?
Yeah, for sure. And those two guys, yeah, they played in the NBA, but at the end of the day, like not a lot of people really know that they did. And like it's like a lot of people don't even think anyone's played in the NBA that's Indian. And Satnam Singh, he got drafted by the Mavs, but he didn't play a minute like, in the NBA. Got put on the G League team, and has been there. So they played, but I feel like, it's just two, like, out of how many that have played in the NBA. So it's huge. Like, yeah, I definitely think I have a chance. And with the way that the game's going to becoming more of a shooting, like, players shoot the ball a lot excuse me, a lot more. I think I do have a good chance if I put in the right work and develop the right way. But yeah, it's still huge that I see a lot of people, like a lot of Indian hoopers that are hooping and cheering, like DMing me or sending me messages on Twitter, Instagram, whatever it may be. Hoping that I make it to the league and saying like go represent and all that. So yeah, I mean I feel a lot of love when I get those things, but I definitely hope to do it for all of them. It's not just for me. Like when you get those DMs and Insta, it's not just you're not just doing it for yourself anymore. You're doing it for a whole culture. So I definitely would love to be like one that like makes an impact in the NBA, not just for like the Indian community, but just the game of basketball itself too. So that'd be huge.
And I think the reason for that is, basketball is not normally considered a career option for, many Indian American or Indian parents for their kids growing up. So did you kind of feel that pressure growing up?
Yeah, I mean, like when a lot of like for me, I didn't really feel like I was, I didn't have the opportunity to play any sport that I wanted to because my parents really did a good job of, allowing me to play every sport that I wanted to when I was young. So I could get a feel for everything. And I feel like, for Indian parents, a lot of Indian parents are, at least the stereotype is, that they want their kids to do education constantly. It's all about school, 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 sports comes second. But as times like my sister played basketball and she was on varsity as a sophomore, but she didn't try to play in college. So it wasn't like my parents were really focused on basketball. My sister was playing because it was just kind of like a side hobby thing that my sister did. Um, but for me, it leading me to all these colleges offering and for me having a chance to go there, my parents have kind of over time, how I say, like developed a attitude where it's not just about education anymore. They see the work that I like. They want me to put more work in. They constantly encourage me to go to the gym, and they want me to in the gym. So when I say I'm going to the gym, they don't have any problem because I've done a pretty good job of balancing education and basketball. As I know education still comes first as it's really really important. But at the end of the day, my parents don't want me to just like it goes to schools too. They don't want me just to go to school because of the education. They want me to go to school because I feel comfortable in the basketball and education side of things. So I think if you have parents like that, it really does help lift that pressure off of just the education standpoint, and it allows you to open up new things from other than education. Like for me, it was basketball. So having parents like that really helped like me have the opportunity to look for something other than just education and get involved with the game of basketball.
So can you speak more about that relationship with your parents? Like how big has their support been for you and like contributing to your success as well?
It's huge. It's huge. Like I said in the beginning, like they started when I was young and let me start with any sport I wanted to play. So it really really helped when I knew from an early age that they believed in me and wanted me to do anything that I wanted and pursue. When I was younger, I used to play the piano, I used to play the guitar. I went through all these different stages of wanting to try new things, which is what a kid does. But at the end of the day, basketball stuck and I ended up loving it and I continue to play it. So it's huge that they were able to support me. They've been at every single one of my games, whenever I'm playing. So a lot of parents kind of when their kids are playing and they're not really like on say the A team or they're not on varsity, they don't really go for the games because it's not as big. But I started on B team when I was playing in AAU, and I wasn't on the best team always, and they were always at my games still, constantly supporting. So having parents like that really support from stages where you're not even at the top, like it's really 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 helpful. And I think they've seen the journey that I've come from being from down here coming here, and I still obviously have a long way to go. I'm not even close to where I want to be, but them seeing that journey that I've gone through, I think they kind of understand that there's life outside of just schoolwork. There's life outside of education. There's different paths, and I think them seeing that these schools offering that, like say my brother and sister who just did education, they couldn't even get to with just like Stanford, Princeton. They couldn't get you know acceptance into those schools. But me choosing a different path in life with basketball, and that which led me to the schools like Princeton, Harvard, Rice, Stanford, like that have these high educations. Um, I think they understand that, at the end of the day, whatever can lead you to life, like whatever can lead you to like a good school, but a good life, past that school, um, it's okay, whatever path you choose. It may be different, but at the end of the day, um, if you do what you do and you love what you do, then it doesn't really matter. So
So at what age did you start playing basketball, and when did you or your parents kind of realize that, oh wow, like I could be really good at this?
so I started playing YMCA basketball like since I was young, like kindergarten, first grade is kind of when my parents wanted me to play every sport, so I was just introduced to it. I love the game, as soon as I started it, but I didn't really start playing competitive ball like AAU, like select ball until third grade. That's when I started playing like, competitively and tournament, like, traveling a little bit around the state, nothing crazy. But and then seventh grade, I actually switched AAU teams. My first AAU team was good, gave me foundation of basketball and everything. I'm glad I did it because it introduced me to the game. But seventh grade is when I switched over to a team called 3D Hoops Academy, and I started playing with it. My coach's name is Coach Sean, and that's when I started kind of getting developed into a shooter, being able to spread the floor a little bit, score all three positions more or less, and become like a player that can do more than just drive to the hoop, or put back layups or something like that, which is what I was kind of doing for my other team. Not being a player of multiple values. I was just kind of a one style player. So it kind of developed me a little bit more, and I was able to improve my game a lot and kind of go that summer going into my sophomore year. I had a really good year with my AAU team, and that's kind of when I started to get more these college looks, and a couple coaches like these scouters posted me on Twitter and everything like that. So that's kind of when I started like in my head like, okay, like maybe I can go to college, like and play. Like that's when I started, and I think a lot of my coaches saw it way before me. I didn't really realize it until that year, that summer, and then that year um, of school ball, my sophomore year, we had coaches coming to practice for me and my teammate Anthony, and so it was huge seeing these coaches out of blue, and some head coaches were coming. I was like, okay, like now I know, like, okay, I actually have a chance like to go play at the next level. And I didn't get my first offer till my that summer into my junior year. Um, that's when I got my first offer, but before then, that's when I started talking to coach. I kind of realized, okay, like I can make it to the next level. And I never knew that I would be able to really make it to the next level until that summer going into my sophomore year and really the end of my freshman year. So that's kind of when.
What was that first offer like? Like, take me through that moment.
So I was actually I was at the gym with my two of my friends, Ben and Obi, and we were getting some shots up, and then we were about to run some one-on-one games, and I got my first offer from Rice University, and I was the head coach I like at that point I wasn't allowed to, like, coaches weren't allowed to call me because the date's June 15th, going into your sophomore year or going into your junior year, where coaches can actually start calling you. So they weren't allowed to call me. So I had seen a text from one of my scouters named Buff, and he had told me that his name's Cullen Buffington, and he told me that the Rice coach wanted me to call him. So I saw his text. I called him. I was in the gym, and it was kind of loud, people playing in the background and everything. So I called him, but I was alone in the weight room, which is kind of near it. And I called him, and we had a conversation. That's kind of that was the first time I really talked to him, and we just started off talking, how's everything going and all that. But then towards later in the call, he started talking about how you see me play, watch some film with the staff and everything. Really love the way I play, and he said we'd love to offer you a scholarship to come to Rice University. And at first I was like super excited, but then in my back of my head I was like, man, it's loud in here. Like, did I even hear that right? Like, I didn't know. It was kind of soft, so I didn't really know for sure. So at the end of the call, I was like, just kind of make sure. I was like, thank you so much for offering me a scholarship. And he was like, yeah, no problem. So when he said that, I was like, okay, yeah, like, oh man, like this is crazy. So I hung up the phone immediately, or after the call, and then I told my two buddies I was with, and then I called my parents immediately to tell them. But it was huge. Like, I was super excited. Every player waits for that first offer, and it's the same thing for me. You're anxious till that first offer, and once that first one hits, it feels so good. And it was a really big moment. Like, it was really fun to enjoy with my friends and my family at the time. So
Let me go back to what you said earlier. You started kind of like almost like not as a shooter necessarily, but now that's become a part of your game. It's
yeah,
almost one of the best parts of your game, actually. So
yeah.
what could you attribute that to? Like, was it a confidence thing, or did you just
Yeah.
become a better shooter? How did that happen?
So when I actually moved to I originally when I was playing on my first AU team, I really didn't shoot. I shot mid ranges. I was kind of the high post guy, the four I played. But as you get older, everyone gets taller and bigger. And at the end of the day, like, I'm not gonna strive as a big because that's just not who I am. And being a 6'6", 6'7" shooter really, really helps. And I think my coach saw that when my coach for my team right now, 3D Hoops Academy, he saw that when I was a younger player. And he seventh grade when I first joined his B team, he didn't. I was obviously upset I wasn't on the A team, right? But at the end of the day, I think it was the perfect path I could have been put on because he knew I needed to build that confidence to shoot the ball because that's what his whole organization is. Every player needs to be able to shoot. Every player needs to have the confidence to let the thing fly. So, I was on his team and, at first, I just didn't shoot a lot of shots, especially like um, if I didn't think it was a good shot. And this coach, like my coach, would get mad at me if I didn't shoot open threes. That's the type of guy he is. He gets mad if you don't shoot the ball when even if you're lightly contested or if you're just in strive, basketball movement wise, like you just hit two, you got to shoot the third. Like it's a heat check. And so he at the end of the day is one of those coaches that wants me to shoot the ball. After playing like a year on that B team, throughout eighth grade and summer before freshman year, it really, really, helped me build my confidence of being a shooter and, shooting the ball when I'm open or even if I'm contested a little bit, but, just having the confidence. So, he really, really helped me improve that. A lot of the drills we run, practices are like, it may be a 3-on-2, but, if you're wide open on 3-point line, just shoot the ball. Like, it's at the end of the day, like, three is more than two. So, but then freshman year, I was a freshman on varsity, but I didn't really play a lot. But I knew my role. My role was to come in the game and just kind of I wasn't a guy that was really good with my ball with the ball in my hands at the time, and so I was just a kind of spot up guy, spot up shooter. So whenever the ball came to me, I knew if I had a little space, I'd let the thing ride. So that's kind of what I did my freshman year, and that's kind of where I built like that shooting standpoint. But sophomore year and this year, I've done a lot more other than just just spot up and shoot. Try to attack the basket more, get in the post a little bit to expose smaller guards and everything like that. But that's kind of like where the shooting started. With my AU team building that confidence, and then once I got moved up to the elite team of his, and becoming a big contributor of scoring and being one of the better players on that team. That kind of helped build the confidence, knowing that I'm on the best team that he has, and I'm one of the biggest contributors on offense, and so I was like, okay, like I know that's when I became kind of like so-called like a shooter, but that's kind of how it played out.
So now you're 6'6", like 170, 180, right? Elite 3-point shooting, can score at all three levels. You probably gotten like a lot of KD comparisons growing up, right? Are there any other
Yeah.
players you've been compared to, or you try and like draw inspiration from?
Two kind of players like I say I get compared to. So, KD is a guy who's obviously an elite shooter, but he also is very good with the ball in his hands. He has handles. He can make plays off the dribble and go score at the mid range and mid post level too. And the same thing like Brandon Ingram. A lot of people say same type of play style and that thing. But then also a lot of people see me as like a Duncan Robinson, like doesn't really put the ball on the floor a lot, but kind of gets in the like coming off staggers, coming off handoffs, flare screens, all that type of stuff. And then just letting the thing ride without a lot of dribbles, or like a Klay Thompson kind of same thing. Where you just kind of get open and don't really use the dribble as much. So I can see myself as both. Obviously I'd rather not put the ball on the ground if I don't have to, and rather just, get a shot. I think everyone would rather do that, if they didn't have to put the ball. But at the end of the day, I think, there's going to be some plays where I have to do it. So I can see myself, with the kind of KD like play, but I can see myself also kind of like a Duncan Robinson, Klay Thompson type play where it's coming off staggers or 1-2 footing straight into a shot type stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
it really just depends. We'll see how what I'm used as like at the next level and the level after that, but we'll see.
So do you think there are any parts of your game that might be underrated or overlooked in all of your shooting ability?
I think, yeah, but I think a lot of the coaches that have recruited me have actually like they do a really they all coaches really understand the game so well that they really look at it. But I guess from like a public standpoint, I think what's kind of underlooked is my passing ability. A lot of coaches that's the main thing that they tell me that they think is like one of the huge parts other than my game other shooting is my ability to pass. When you have players like Anthony Black, Nas, and other players that are really really good playing with you in AU or in school ball, it makes passing easy because they're just an easy target to hit when they're open or when they're making cuts and stuff. But um, at the next level, you're gonna be playing with guys that are all good. So I think a lot of people kind of underestimate my passing ability is one of the main things, and I've been trying to work a little bit more on rebounding recently. Being one of the taller guys in high school, I got to be able to rebound more. So I don't really think that one's underlooked, but I think that one's kind of trying to improve on and doing a better job of.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that. Like, are there any other aspects of your game that you want to improve upon?
Definitely rebounding is one, but defensively, I think I need to improve. I think I do a good job of getting the passing lanes and getting deflections and stuff. But I think I need to do a better job of staying in front of the ball as much and not trying to reach and try to get easy ones, and just stay disciplined. So I think defensively, that's one of the things I got to work on.
So you're in 11th grade now, right? What are your expectations for your senior season?
Obviously, everyone's goal is to win state, and I think we have a good chance if we have the players that we do this year, and maybe hope we'll see if anyone gets added in or whatever that may be. But I think this year we can have a good run in playoffs, and obviously we want to win state. But if that doesn't happen to be the case, we still have next year to do it too. So, but at the end of the day, it's really just to win games and have fun my senior season. That's at the end of the day, you want to do what you can, but you got to enjoy it while it happens. So I'm not going to take it for granted, and I'm just going to enjoy every game while we have it.
So what do you think the transition will be like moving from high school ball to playing at the Division I level?
It's gonna be huge. I've had a lot of friends, that have gone D1s that like, and just tell me, that it's just different. Like, the shot selections are not gonna be as shot selection is not gonna be like college, and defensively you have to be, on point all the time, And then this the whole lifestyle of college is kind of like how we've been living right now with online school. Um, a lot of coaches have been telling me it's gonna be like 2 hours, 3 hours of schoolwork a day and the rest is just grind season for your sports. So, and that's kind of what's been now with online school, not been having to do like schoolwork 24/7 like I used to have. It's kind of like more 3, 4 hours a day, maybe at most. Um, but that's kind of like the life you got to live, and then obviously taking care of yourself rather than having your mom or dad or your family take care of you. That's a big responsibility. You're gonna have to be taking care of yourself, living alone in college. So I think that's kind of a big transition. And then other than that, you just got to be a better basketball player than you can in high school. You can get away with stuff in high school, but at the end of the day, college level, you're gonna be on TV. Like not even just because you're on TV, but just because of the impact it has on the game of taking plays off and not doing the right thing. You gotta be make sure you're locked in 24/7 while playing.
So as of right now, is the end goal of the NBA for you?
Yeah, definitely. That's the dream to get in the NBA and play and just have fun and that's the dream though to get in the NBA.
So have you ever thought about like maybe playing for the Indian national team as well, by any chance?
Yeah, so I actually was thinking about playing for like the division. There's like a under 18 team um for for me to play on like right now. But the thing I think is I would have to be born in India to play on that, or if I'm not mistaken, that's what I think. But also I didn't really look a lot into it this year because of COVID and everything. We weren't a lot that wasn't really a thing that we could do. So I don't think I'm gonna be able to play in that before I leave out of high school because it's my last summer and with COVID and everything, I don't think like my coach was telling me that it's not gonna be probably a good a chance that I can play in that. But yes, if I could play on the Indian national team when I'm, over when I'm older, then yeah, that'd be super, super dope. I would really love to, but I don't know how it all works if I have to be born in India or I just have to be of Indian descent. But I think that'd be super cool if I was able to represent India, with the national team.
And finally, last question: what kind of advice or message would you give to other Indian American kids that might be interested in playing basketball or just want to play basketball at the next level?
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta treat yourself like you just got to treat yourself like you're different. You got to understand that you got to, obviously everyone works hard, but you just got to understand that, some people are not going to, I talked to college coaches and they told me like, some coaches are just not gonna like get interested or offer you because you are of Indian descent. That's just the way it is. He tells me like, one of the coaches told me, he's like, when's the last time you've seen an Indian excel in the NCAA? And he just said like that. I mean, that coach offered me, but he just telling me about other coaches I've talked to, and that's just the way it is. It sucks, but at the end of the day, it really just shows you who truly wants you at the end of the day. So, a lot of kids may get all these offers, 24, 25 offers, but at the end of the day, do any of them really, really want them, or are they just offers that people throw out there? For me, I think, being Indian and, having schools that, may discriminate you because you're Indian, it shows you which schools really, really want you because of not just you, but the way you play, everything. So I think you got to look at the positive sides of things in that. But then also, you're gonna have difficulties, playing games. You're gonna have people talking trash about you and online stuff and everything. But at the end of the day, if you're getting hate, you're probably doing something right. You're probably, at the end of the day, you're probably, people are taking their time out the day to hate on you. So I think you're doing something right. So is that you gotta keep working and treat yourself like you're different. Everyone's putting in work, but you got to put in more work. Just because you played a game doesn't mean you can't go to the gym later or whatever it may be. You just got to do what no one else is doing. So
Is that something you experienced often? Being on the court like as an Indian player, like even off the court as well.
I think on the court, for the most part, recently, I think I've gained a lot of respect from a lot of the players in the DFW area and everything from kind of what I've done. So it's not really a lot of hate, like especially like being Indian. I mean, there's obviously trash talk every game just because that's the emotions in the game, but it's
Mhm.
nothing to really do with race or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, off the court, talking to coaches and there's definitely discrimination that occurs, and it's you don't have to be blind to like not be able to see, like you can see it, but it is what it is. I think the game's changed a lot over time, and I think it probably was worse back in the day, or but I think it's gotten a lot better over time, just because basketball, has so many different cultures in it. That you see a lot of different, Asians, Americans, African Americans. It's all you see all types of races playing it, and it's not a game of just one race. So I think it's getting better over time, and it will continue to get better over time. But here and there, you may see some. Discriminations and things that I faced it as well, but it's all part of the process. So
Thank you so much for your time, Ryan.
yeah, no problem.
And good luck with not only your selection but your playing career as well. I'm sure we'll all be following it closely.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Appreciate it a
Mhm.
lot.